Love is blind, they say. But for Clara, love wasn't just blind. It was blindfolded, gagged, and walking willingly into the arms of something far worse than death. Clara Bloom had always believed love would save her. She was a florist by day, a poet by night, and a hopeless romantic all her life. But in the small, sleepy town soaked in sorrow and secrets, romance had long since rotted until he arrived. Sebastian Whitmore. He was tall with alabaster skin like porcelain soaked in moonlight, hair like snow, and eyes that bled a crimson hue when no one was watching. He first stepped into Clara's flower shop on a rainy Thursday, speaking in a voice that felt like silk dipped in tragedy. He bought white lilies. Every time. Always white. Always stained red the next morning. Clara kept a journal where she wrote, "He's gentle, but touched by something broken. I can fix him. I have to." But Sebastian didn't need fixing. He needed feeding. Night after night, Clara fell deeper. The love letters turned to confessions, and her dreams became less like sleep and more like warnings. Women began vanishing, each with ties to Sebastian. There were no bodies, only trails of blood leading to nowhere. She didn't care. Not until she found the wedding dress. In his cellar. Torn. Soaked. And still dripping. Clara confronted him, the candlelight flickering between them like a nervous fire. "Sebastian, I warned you, Clara. I warned you what love does to me." "Clara, what are you?" "Sebastian, yours if you'll have me. All of me." He kissed her forehead like a curse. And for a moment Clara believed him. But love twisted something inside her. From devotion to revenge. She played her part for weeks, the perfect lover, the loyal bride-to-be. Until the engagement night, beneath a blood moon, where their vows would be sealed, not in words, but in ritual. Sebastian laid her down upon an altar of white roses. Petals turned red as he whispered incantations in a language that scraped the inside of her skull. His lips grazed her neck. She smiled. "Clara, I know what you are, and I've fed you your last soul." The chains wrapped around his limbs ignited in silver flame. He screamed not in pain, but in betrayal. "Sebastian, I loved you, Clara. Clara, you loved yourself more." Clara had made a deal of her own, with something older, darker, the very thing Sebastian had betrayed to steal his power. And now she delivered him back, gift-wrapped in agony. His body burst into white ash, his voice echoing like wind in a tomb. The lilies at the altar withered black. Clara walked away that night, veil torn, dress soaked in his blood, but alive. She reopened her flower shop a week later. The white lilies never bled again. But behind her counter, under the hum of jazz and petals, she smiled too much now, and never sold roses. Sometimes the only way to survive love is to become the monster it made you fear. But just as Clara thought she'd burned the last of his shadow, late one night, she received a delivery. No return address. No name. Just a small black box tied with a crimson ribbon. Inside, a single white lily, bleeding. Beneath it, a torn page from her diary, written in her handwriting. But she never wrote those words. "I forgive you, Clara. Will you wear the dress again?" The cellar door creaked open by itself. And the wedding dress isn't where she left it. The dead don't always stay dead, and love doesn't always die with them. Clara Bloom killed the man she loved, but love, like guilt, has a way of crawling back piece by piece. Clara didn't sleep that night. The box, the lily, the diary page, it was impossible. She burned Sebastian to ash. She chained him in ancient silver. She heard his screams echo into the void. But now, the cellar door had opened. The wedding dress was missing. And worst of all, the shadows in her house moved like they remembered her. "He's dead," she whispered. "I made sure." But the mirror didn't agree. Her reflection smiled. When she wasn't. Over the next 3 days, Clara unraveled. Her diary began writing itself. Pages she'd never touched filled with verses of love and warnings in blood-red ink. He isn't coming back. Because he never left. Petals appeared in her bed. In her shoes. In her mouth when she coughed. White lilies. Always bleeding. Desperate, Clara returned to the ruins of Sebastian's mansion. But there was no ruin. The manor stood tall. Unscathed. Lit from within as if it had never burned. And in the window, a silhouette. Holding a veil. Waiting. Inside, the air was thick and sweet, like decay wrapped in honey. She followed the trail of lilies to the ballroom, where she once refused him, where she once destroyed him. And there, under the chandelier, he stood. Sebastian, dressed in black. Smiling like death had only made him more charming. Sebastian, "I forgive you, Clara." "Clara, you're dead." "Sebastian, no. I'm eternal. And I've brought you a gift." He raised his hand. From the shadows, a little girl stepped forward. Pale, silent, holding the missing wedding dress. "Sebastian, meet Annabelle. Our daughter. Some love stories don't end. They reincarnate. Clara Bloom once destroyed a demon in the name of love. But now, she's starting to wonder if she ever had that power to begin with." Sebastian stood beneath the chandelier, smiling like a groom still waiting for vows that were never spoken. Annabelle, the pale little girl, stared at Clara with eyes far too old. Clara backed away, breath caught in her throat. This is a trick. She's not real." But the child walked closer, dress dragging across the marble floor, trailing ash. And when she spoke, her voice was Clara's. "Annabelle, you left me there, Mama. With him." Clara dropped to her knees. Flashes of a memory she never lived. A dark room. A crib. Blood in the lullaby. She had never been pregnant. Had she? "You're lying," she said, trembling. "You're not mine." But the truth wasn't just in the child. It was inside her. Clara's stomach twisted. Something moved beneath her skin. Kicking. "Sebastian, you didn't just kill me, Clara. You became me. The ritual bound us. When you burned me, you opened yourself." And just like that, she remembered. The night of the ritual. The silver chains. The way she whispered the incantations with him. She wasn't just his victim. She was his bride. Willing. Hungry. Half of the horror. Love didn't twist Clara. Clara was the twist. Annabelle reached out, placing a cold hand on Clara's stomach. "Annabelle, you'll be a mother again, Mama. But this time you won't forget." The flowers on the walls bloomed, then bled. The chandelier flickered, and the mansion began to pulse like a living thing. And then black. When Clara woke, she was in her flower shop. Normal. Sunny. But every bouquet now had a single white lily. And every customer looked like someone she used to know. Someone missing. She thought she'd ended the nightmare. But Clara is now the gardener of something far more ancient. Something that blooms in blood and memory. Father Elias Thorne, an aging, disgraced priest once tasked with tracking supernatural rituals, had failed to stop Sebastian years ago. Now he senses his old enemy is alive again. Or worse, reborn. He begins investigating the strange flower shop in Bloom Ridge, where no one seems to age. Where everyone leaves with a lily. And no one ever remembers the day after. There is no love here. Only binding. And I swear by the blood of God I'll cut the root. But when Elias sees Clara, he recognizes her not as Sebastian's lover, but as his twin flame, the original ritualist, the true demon all along.